Today we're talking about the 10 celebrities who openly dissed Ryan Reynolds. He might come off like the sweetest, funniest man in Hollywood to his fans, but behind closed doors, an entirely different story has been unraveling for years. Girl, let me tell you, these stars did not hold back on how they really feel about him. By the time we're done, you might be looking at Mr. Deadpool with a little more side-eye than usual. And what happens next is bound to have you questioning everything you thought you knew about America's favorite comedic actor. Ryan Reynolds might seem playful and charming on the outside, but when you hear all the backstories of secret feuds, disrespectful behavior, and downright rudeness, you'll understand why folks are calling him out. Some have kept his name hidden to avoid drama. Others? They dropped that name so fast it made the internet explode. So buckle up, because we're diving into the real tea behind Ryan Reynolds and the 10 famous faces who just couldn't keep quiet any longer. Let's start at the shore. Yes, honey, we're diving into reality TV drama, courtesy of the Jersey Shore crew. You wouldn't expect the cast that made fist-pumping and GTL a global phenomenon to clash with Ryan Reynolds, but that's exactly what happened. It all went down when the ladies appeared on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. Andy, always the master of dishing out the juicy questions, asked them if they'd ever had a run-in with a rude celebrity. At first, Sammy Joncola tried to be discreet. She gave that hesitant smile and tried to avoid naming names. Because you know in Hollywood, you never know who might come back swinging if you air their dirty laundry. But Miss Dina Cortez? She was not about to hold her tongue. She just went right ahead and let the cat out of the bag, calling Ryan Reynolds out for being, in her words, not great to us. Yes, honey, she said his name straight up, and the shock on Sammy's face was priceless. Dina clarified that she adores Ryan Reynolds and his wife Blake Lively, yet she insisted Ryan simply didn't want to be near them. Sammy tried to soften the blow by saying maybe he just had a bad day, but that awkward vibe must have been real strong for them to feel some kind of way and bring it up on a talk show. Even though these two tried to cushion their statements with "I still love him," the damage was done, and the tea was spilled. People couldn't believe that one of Hollywood's friendliest faces could behave so distant, especially to a couple of fun-loving reality stars. But that wasn't the whole story. Ryan's had these rumors swirling for years, and as we move on, you'll see that he's allegedly got a thing for shutting people out when he's not in the mood. From reality star drama, we're now heading straight to the big screen with actress Rebecca Ferguson, who famously starred in Mission Impossible films and many other blockbuster hits. But the story we're focusing on here is her movie called Life, which also featured Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal. Recently, Rebecca opened up in an interview about dealing with an absolute idiot of a co-star. She never named names, but baby, the clues were as bright as a neon sign at midnight. Rebecca said this co-star was always yelling at her, acting downright insecure, and taking his anger out on her just because he couldn't get his lines right. She felt vulnerable and intimidated because the person causing all the drama was number one on the call sheet, meaning he had top billing, making it extra risky for her to speak up. She explained how nobody came to her defense, and she had to gather every ounce of courage to tell him to get off her set. Imagine that, having to work in constant fear because someone with more power in the production can basically do whatever they want. Speculation quickly landed on Ryan Reynolds because he and Jake Gyllenhaal were the headliners for Life. Fans started piecing together hints, noticing that Rebecca opted to do a lot of her press promotions without them, which was odd for such a big film. Once these stories started circulating, people were like, hold up, is the comedic and lovable Ryan Reynolds actually a bully behind the scenes? It didn't help that Rebecca hinted her phone was buzzing off the hook after she made these statements. Apparently, her colleagues warned her she'd stirred the pot. But in her words, if someone's a decent person, there's no need for them to worry. By this point, more folks began rewatching Life with new eyes, wondering if the chemistry on set was actually toxic tension. And what happened next would shock everyone, because it turns out that Rebecca might not have been the only one who lost her patience with Ryan around that time. Oh yes, next up is Jake Gyllenhaal, who also starred alongside Rebecca and Ryan in Life. You might recall how Ryan and Jake once seemed like best buds, or at least that's the vibe they were giving off in interviews. But if you listen to some of Jake's more recent comments, that bromance has soured big time. When asked about his ongoing feud with Ryan, Jake's reaction was icy. He basically implied there's no chance they'll ever be best friends again, acting like Ryan is that ex you never want to cross paths with once you've slammed the door shut. There wasn't a huge blow-up on social media or a public statement claiming they had parted ways, but the vibe is clear as day. Jake said he has nothing to say to Ryan, and his face told a story that words alone couldn't. Fans started speculating about what really went down. Did Ryan's alleged controlling behavior on set push Jake away? Did Ryan's comedic shtick turn sour? Whatever the reason, Jake seems totally done, and it's quite a leap from where they began, laughing together in press interviews for life. If Ryan can't even keep the usually chill Jake Gyllenhaal in his corner, that's telling. But that's not the only Deadpool-related drama we have on the table. Up next is a co-star who found herself cut right out of the sequel spotlight, and that leads us to an even bigger puzzle about Ryan's behavior. Some folks might not remember, but when the first Deadpool film came out, Morena Baccarin was a huge part of the storyline. She played Wade Wilson's love interest and was a major selling point for the emotional core of that movie. Then, the sequel arrived, and Morena's character was suspiciously sidelined. People started asking, what the heck happened to Vanessa? Well, rumor has it that Morena had a disagreement with Ryan. Nobody knows if it was creative differences, or if he just didn't like being challenged, but whatever it was, the result was obvious. She was suddenly missing from key press tours and major promotional events. She walked the red carpet at one premiere all by herself, and fans said the entire cast was off to one side, while she stood to the other, almost like she wasn't even part of the film. This raised eyebrows, since we've seen a pattern in how Ryan might deal with people who don't stay in line with his vision. It seems if you challenge him, you're out of the circle. People speculated her role was cut down in Deadpool 2 on purpose, just to show who's boss. That might also explain why, even with all the chatter about Deadpool 3, Morena's involvement remains up in the air. And if you thought that was the end of the Deadpool drama, think again. Because Ryan's friction with certain co-stars was only the tip of the iceberg. Let's talk about two Millers, no relation, who both have serious bones to pick with Ryan Reynolds. First up is TJ Miller, who played Weasel in the Deadpool franchise. He spilled the tea about a bizarre moment on set where Ryan, in character, supposedly went off script and insulted him in a way that felt personal, not playful. TJ said Ryan was calling him less than a star, basically that he was some sidekick whose only job was to spew out quick jokes and then vanish. That might not sound like a big deal, but TJ insisted Ryan was 100% serious and not at all joking. TJ left that day feeling humiliated, like Ryan had used his comedic act as an excuse to degrade him. TJ wasn't having it. He told interviewers he wouldn't return for Deadpool 3, even if they offered him double his salary. That's a strong statement, especially in Hollywood, where everybody's hustling for a paycheck. If you're turning down that Marvel money, you must feel strongly about never facing that disrespect again. Then there's Tim Miller, the director who helmed the first Deadpool. He left before the second movie began, and he made it clear that his reason was Ryan's controlling personality. Tim tried to make creative decisions, but Ryan wanted to run the show. Ryan's star power gave him leverage, and according to Tim, every single thing had to go Ryan's way, or there was no moving forward. Tim said he's all for collaboration, but if he's not able to win a single creative debate, there's just no point. It's basically Ryan's playground, and if you don't like it, you can go home. Well, Tim did exactly that, and the rest is history. But that wasn't the whole story, because another big celebrity had some not-so-nice words about Ryan's Netflix deals, and it only gets more intense from there. Ryan's issues with co-stars are one thing, but his ex-partners paint an equally tense picture of his personality. First up, we have Scarlett Johansson, who was married to Ryan from 2008 to 2011. Now, they were once the golden couple. But once their divorce was final, ScarJo made several comments about exes who exhibit jealous or controlling behaviors. She said she can't stand when someone is passive-aggressively jealous, calling it insecure. She also said she despises controlling behavior in a relationship, which is a big red flag. Some fans read between the lines, especially considering how at the time, Scarlett's career was skyrocketing while Ryan was struggling. She booked major Marvel roles, and that seemed to be a sticking point. She once hinted that dating an actor is volatile because of those feelings of competition when one person's success outshines the others. Rumors flew that Ryan's jealousy made him lash out in the relationship, and it got so intense that they couldn't hold it together. Then, of course, a few months after the divorce, Ryan was linked to Blake Lively, leaving many folks suspecting that overlap contributed to the entire breakdown. But let's not forget Alanis Morissette, who dated Ryan for years and was even engaged to him before they split in 2007. Alanis poured her heartbreak into her album, Flavors of Entanglement, and one line in particular suggested she was dealing with an unbelievably insecure partner who left her really broken. Yes, she never straight up said Ryan's name, but we all know who she was engaged to. Fans connected the dots, and it was easy to see who she meant. In interviews, Alanis said the breakup devastated her, and that level of devastation usually doesn't come from a sweet, supportive partner. So, put that in your teacup and sip it. And we're still not finished. Now we're moving on to a legendary director who had absolutely no problem trashing Ryan's entire filmography to make a point. Finally, we land on the iconic director Quentin Tarantino, known for Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, and so many other groundbreaking films. Quentin did an interview where he talked about the new age of streaming. He basically said he doesn't watch Netflix originals and singled out Ryan Reynolds as a prime example of an actor making boatloads of money from Netflix movies that, in Tarantino's words, don't even exist. He was throwing so much shade it might as well have been an eclipse. Quentin claimed he'd never seen these movies and questioned if anyone else had. He even rattled off how Ryan supposedly made $50 million per project, then doubled down on the fact that they lack cultural impact. That's a polite way of saying, your movies are forgettable. Now remember, Tarantino rarely bites his tongue, so folks weren't exactly shocked. But it was interesting because it pointed to a larger sentiment in Hollywood. Ryan might be raking in the cash, but big-name directors like Tarantino aren't impressed with the final product. They see him as a big paycheck star, not necessarily an actor with critical acclaim. And Quentin isn't alone. Let's not forget when Gerard Butler got asked about the similarities between his film Gamer and Ryan's Free Guy. Gerard basically responded, "I don't even know what Free Guy is," and made it clear he's not out here watching Ryan Reynolds. It might seem petty, but it's a statement. Not everybody buys into Ryan's comedic golden boy image. With so many folks, reality TV stars, co-stars, directors, ex-wives, ex-fiancés, stepping out with stories of his rudeness, insecurities, and controlling ways, it's hard to brush this off as a coincidence. Whether it's overshadowing co-stars, slamming doors on directors, or brushing off reality celebs, Ryan Reynolds is repeatedly called out for not being the gracious funny man we see on talk shows and red carpets. Now, that's the real kicker. He has the world believing he's just a comedic genius with a golden heart. But behind the scenes, it appears that heart might have quite a bit of tarnish on it. So there you have it, baby. We've talked about 10 celebrities, from Sammy Giancola and Dina Cortez to Rebecca Ferguson, Jake Gyllenhaal, Morena Baccarin, TJ Miller, Tim Miller, Scarlett Johansson, Alanis Morissette, and Quentin Tarantino, who've all spilled some form of tea on Ryan Reynolds. And let's not forget that honorable mention from Gerard Butler. These folks represent different corners of show business, TV, film, music, you name it, and they're all telling the same tale. Ryan isn't quite as friendly, humble, or charming as he seems when the cameras are rolling. Is it his ego running wild? Is it insecurity from constantly needing to be the star in every setting? Or maybe he just knows the power he holds and wields it whenever he can. Whatever the true reason might be, it's enough to make a whole bunch of high-profile people say, "No, I'm good. I don't want to mess with that again." And that's saying a lot in a town where forging alliances can be crucial to your next big break. Regardless, Ryan Reynolds continues to dazzle on talk shows and social media, presenting himself as the perfect comedic actor with witty one-liners and a super chill family life. But behind closed doors, it sure seems like another story is playing out, one filled with controlling behavior, blow-ups, creative power struggles, and dismissed co-stars. Will he ever speak on these rumors directly? Maybe, maybe not. But one thing's for sure, fans might think twice the next time they see him cracking a joke. After hearing from this variety of insiders, can we really say Ryan's just an innocent jokester? Either way, that's the dish, folks. There's plenty more gossip swirling in Hollywood. So best believe we'll be right back with the tea when new stories pop up. Thanks for supporting the Gossip Wire. If you made it this far in the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more of the hottest celebrity news online.